Should I legit take it as a sign that the moment I hit record, there are cats screaming and dogs barking, and I'm about to talk about Annabelle? Should I be scared?
I'm gonna miss you, girl!
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you in a blanket because I've got severely sensitive skin and all my normal clothing is making me itch. And we have a bout of winter. And I'm basically just a basic ass bitch. This is my style. Shout out to Vanessa. I'm sure you recognize this from a faraway country. I digress. I finished watching and would like to do a mini review, spoiler alert, of the new Annabelle Coming Home movie that was released earlier this year. And it begins, and we're faced with, the very first scene in the very first movie in The Conjuring, where they talk to the people in the flat about, they invited the spirit to stay inside Annabelle and started tormenting them, etc., etc. And we learn it's an inhuman thing. Then that particular plot line gets carried forward, and you see how Annabelle is sort of brought into the home, into the unholy showroom that is the Warrens' basement or room in their house, and how it gets locked up. And Lorraine is like, this doll is a beacon of evil. It must never be touched. It must be put behind special protective glass. It must be put behind a special protective prayer. So this doll is basically, like a Satan's plaything. Like, confirmed Satan's plaything.
Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jesus!
Fast forward a few years, and their daughter, Judy, 10 years old, is at home with her babysitter, and the babysitter's friend, who we found out pretty early on in the movie, is a believer in what Ed and Lorraine do. She's a stan, and she has a motive of coming to their house because she wants to, Blake Bard, make contact with her father who passed in a car accident. She feels guilt, and she wants to, chat to dad, sort a few things out. Despite knowing that Lorraine is a confirmed psychic and can commune with the dead. Nah.
Girls, like, I'm gonna go into the room of Satan.
And I'm going to touch and invoke and call upon the spirit folk that live inside said room so I can talk to my dad. Judy warned her not to do anything, not to go in there. Her friend warned her, don't do nothing, don't go into that room. And she's like, nah, bitch, I'm going. So she breaks into the room and she, touches all the objects that we're familiar with, new objects that we didn't know about. She, of course, despite reading the sign that says, positively, do not open, she goes and unlocks the damn door in which the case in which Annabelle is.
Don't come over here with that damn foolishness. Let something jump up out of this damn box. You got knocked the head.
Annabelle is released upon the home. And at some point there is like an interested boyfriend in the nanny, in the babysitter, who rocks up, but he plays a pretty minor role. So he's not really mentioned in this. But the cool thing about this movie, which wasn't in the other two, where the other two movies sort of focused on a single sort of element of evil, this introduced you to a lot others, and you got to kind of understand the backstory behind quite a few things in the movies with the objects that you didn't before, which was a really cool part of the movie, because you get to see what the other things are, what their stories are. They kind of go into more depth, explaining this case and that case and this case, and you obviously get to meet the elements of evil. In terms of kind of horror, I would not rank it high up there. Thriller, probably also not. They use the classic tool of building suspense, and when you think something's going to happen, nothing happens, and then a few seconds later, something happens. And you get, the shock, the unexpectedness of it all. The characters were poor. Ed and Lorraine only really feature in the beginning and the end, which is kind of the reason I watched them, because I really like those two characters, having met them through movie 1, movie 2, and subsequent. I would recommend it if you are kind of a fan of the franchise. It's not a bad watch. It's quite an entertaining movie. It's got a few interesting little twists and turns. You find out that the daughter is also kind of psychic, but obviously not as much as the mum. And she is quite important in kind of bringing everything under control again. Because the whole story is that Annabelle is kind of a beacon for spirits and for evil. So when she's released, all other evil comes to her, and they kind of are attracted to her. You kind of finally find out what her final purpose is. The characters are sort of, like I said, a bit wishy-washy. I don't feel like the story is supposed to focus on them. It's supposed to focus on the cases that Ed and Lorraine have worked on. But yeah, basically this whole movie is just about some little girl who decided she wants to talk to her dad because she's feeling guilty that she was responsible for his death, which she wasn't. And she just wants to go and talk to the dead people. She then unleashes all of Satan's fury. And it sort of ends in a very kind of abrupt way where it sort of just ends. There's no kind of ramifications. There's no long-lasting consequences by the look of things. Ed and Lorraine are sort of just like,
oh, cool. Glad you got things sorted.
Lorraine tells the friend who wanted to go talk to dad. Lorraine kind of tells her, listen, I had a chat with your dad. He says it's cool. He loves you. You were not responsible. Don't be so hard on yourself. Brunette bitch could have just gone there the first time and spoken to Lorraine. There would have been a much shorter movie. It's a fun movie, guys, and give it a watch. I don't think you will be disappointed from an entertainment point of view, but don't expect something as in-depth and as involved as The Conjuring, because it ain't it. That's my review, guys. Hope you like what I have to say. Sorry about this incredibly weird lighting, shifting, changing things that happen. I hope I can fix that in editing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.